Hello, everyone. Greetings to all our participants who have joined our today's session. Thanks for joining us today. And I hope that more people will be joining, because overall we had around 140 registered participants. So now we have around 60, which is not bad as well. So my name is Dora. I am the coordinator of the National Erasmus Plus office in Kazakhstan. My project manager, the project manager of our office, Nazirke Medesheva, is also here, and she'll be providing technical assistance as usual. So let me remind you our today's topic, the topic of today's session. So we'll be talking about the Horizon Europe program and Maria Skłodowska-Curie action in particular. Just so you know, the National Erasmus Plus office does not coordinate this program. However, since we received a lot of questions about the Horizon Europe program and Maria Skłodowska-Curie action in particular, and still we are receiving a lot of questions about these components, we asked our colleagues from the European Commission to hold the session for us. So as a result, Kremena, Katrien, and Dora have kindly agreed to hold this session for you. And I'm sure that this session will be very helpful for all of our participants. If you remember, we collected your questions prior to the event. So we passed all those questions to our speakers. So those questions will be covered during today's sessions to the possible extent. So let me give an overview of the agenda of today's session. So we'll start with a presentation about the Horizon Europe program in general. Kremena and Katrien will be talking about the program and showing you some helpful tools. And this will be followed by Dora's presentation. Dora will be talking about the Maria Skłodowska-Curie action in particular. And then we'll have the Q&A session, during which you can put your questions. You can put your questions in the chat box, or you can also use the raised hand function as well. So just to remind that this is an introductory session. So probably you'll not get like many details of these programs. However, more detailed sessions can be organized in the upcoming fall. So just so you know about it. And also a minor announcement. From now on, there is an organization in Kazakhstan which coordinates the Horizon program, Horizon Europe program. And this is the Science Fund, Fond Nauki. The Science Fund will be coordinating this program. So I hope there'll be more promotion events held by this organization. I think at the end of the session, our colleagues from the Science Fund will introduce themselves and make this announcement as well. So let me now give the floor to our colleague from the European Commission, Kremena, Mileva. She'll be talking about the Horizon Europe program. Thank you, Kremena. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Laura. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you, Laura. Could you please start presenting the slides?
Yes, Nazirke will start shortly presenting the slides.
Okay, so my name is Kremena Mileva, and I work in the European Commission in International Cooperation Directorate in Directorate General for Research and Innovation. And I would talk to you today, unfortunately briefly, about the Horizon Europe program, and also will explain about our running work program related to the Horizon Europe. Next slide, please. Yes, next slide, please. Horizon Europe is a key funding program which, with the total budget of almost 100 billion euros, and it is spread through 7 years. It started in 2021 and it will run until 2027. This means that the last projects, the last grants should be signed in 2027, but then of course they can continue to run until later period, 5 years later than that. The main idea behind our research program is this time to facilitate collaboration and mobility of researchers and strengthen the impact of research and innovation throughout the European Union, but also around the world. The program supports implementing of our other European policies, and the main goal of this program is to tackle the global challenges through research and innovation, like climate change, digital transformation, and also to help deliver on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But last but not least is also to boost the competitiveness and growth in the European Union and the participating countries. Next slide, please. Now, our program consists of 3 pillars. The first pillar actually is directed to individual participants in the program, like individual researchers. And for this part of the program, my colleague from Director General of Education and Culture will talk more. The second pillar is just a second, we need to close the door. Excuse me. The second pillar is it aims at the implementation of Horizon Europe through the second pillar, aims to tackle the global challenges and to boost European industrial competitiveness. It consists of 6 clusters, which you could see on your screens. It's health, culture, creativity, and inclusive society. The third one is civil security for society, then digital industry and space, and climate energy, climate and energy. And the last one is food, biosecurity, and natural resources. Now, next slide, please. Horizon Europe, in principle, is open to participation for entities around the world, so almost to all countries in the world. Of course, with certain limitations, almost any actually the program works like that. The applicants should aim at applying for projects, for grants, through usually through forming consortiums with other research entities or even private companies. And those consortiums are almost always in a position to include or could include a third country partner with or without funding. This means that without funding means that the participant will come with its own funding, and with funding means that the participant from the third country is eligible to receive funding through Horizon Europe budget. Now, the good news for Kazakh participants is that you fall into this category, and entities coming from Kazakhstan are eligible for funding. Next slide, please. Now there is another category of participants in our program, which are the so-called associated countries. They are usually neighboring the EU and are in participants coming from those countries are considered as if coming from the European Union. I will talk about later why is this difference important for you to note. Kazakhstan is not an associated country. Next slide, please. But the fact that the Kazakhstan is not an associated country does not mean that you cannot participate in the program. On the contrary. Next slide, please. You're very welcome. Now I will, the framework program is a huge activity through all these 7 years. So in order to make it more detailed, we actually work with the so-called work programs where we go forward with proposing topics for which the potential applicants may apply. This is called a work program, and now we are into the second work program within the framework program, which will run between 2023 and 2024, and the dedicated budget is 13.5 billion. Now, around 22% of all topics within this work program encourage international cooperation, but this is just how to say, this is just a hook in the work program. The fact that Kazakhstan or international cooperation is not mentioned in the call does not mean that international cooperation is forbidden and you cannot participate. So this is important to mention when you do your search for partners and programs, not to be discouraged if you don't see your country or even broadly speaking the international cooperation mentioned, not to participate. On the contrary. Now, the idea of the current work program is to foster excellence in research and support fellowships, trainings, exchange of researchers through Marie Skłodowska actions, also build more connected and efficient European innovation ecosystems, create high-class research infrastructures, and support, as I already mentioned, actually support the green and digital transitions and target global challenges like climate change and digital transition. Next slide, please. And now I will just mention, I will just show you briefly, actually the work program is organized around the clusters. So we have 6 kind of chapters of the work program. There are also other parts of the work program, but for widening and more general or concrete actions, but for now I'm focusing only on the second pillar of Horizon Europe program. So here you will see a few examples of topics which can be tackled in the work program. In health you have intervention in city environments. In culture, these 2 topics as an example. Please, next slide. then civil security for society and digital industry and space. Actually, it's I will mention here that these two clusters are a little bit more particular, and here we have a slight restriction of international participation because of the nature of those clusters, and the idea is to protect the European independence. But again, if the international cooperation is not explicitly excluded from a topic, then it means that you may apply and try to find partners. Then next slide, please. And then you have the last two chapters. Next slide, please. Now, how to participate? My colleague Katrien will speak a little bit more in details and the practicalities how to participate. But I would just mention here that they are normally the consortium consists of minimum three entities. But when there is an international element, meaning that if there is a participant from international international partner, then we need minimum 4 participants in the consortium, members of the consortium, where at least one should come from the EU member states. The other 2 may come from associated country or member states. So we don't have, I saw a question also in the program, we don't have limit of how many participants will be in the consortium, but of course, if there are too many, it might become unmanageable. So it's up to the coordinator to see how many people, how many entities it's needed to fulfill the project and the program. Now, the next slide, please. So basically, I already spoke about the participation, and the last slide, please. Here I show some links, useful links which you might look at after the session, study them, and based on your experience, looking at what we have to offer, we could offer. We could organize further sessions in the autumn for more detailed explanations how to participate and anything you might be interested in. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to my colleague Katrien to explain the practical parts of our problem, how to participate. Thank you.
Thanks, Kremena. There are some questions in the chat box already and in the Q&A box, but we'll cover questions during the Q&A session. Katrien, the floor is yours now.
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
So I will try to hook on what Kremena already said. First of all, my name is Katrien Rommens-Notoglou. I'm working as well for the European Commission in the same unit for international cooperation as Kremena. And I will try to make it a bit more practical, give you a very first introduction in the funding and tender portal. What is important to say first about this funding and tender portal is that it is a corporate tool, which is the entry point for anyone who is interested in applying for projects or tenders, and this not only for Horizon Europe, but for already more than 60 European programs. So I also sent a set of slides that can be shared with the participants, and then you will have all the links that you need to discover yourself afterwards at your ease and to find your way on this portal. So this is really a one-stop shop, I would say, for all opportunities that you might be interested in that the EU offers. So to go on the home page, you will first need to choose the program in which you are interested in. So today I pick Horizon Europe, and then you are in the universe of Horizon Europe. So what does this portal provides you? First of all, it's a single contact point between our beneficiaries or potential beneficiaries and the Commission. Actually, everything is done through this portal. You can look for information, you can look for opportunities, you can look for guidance, you can look for partners, but it's also the place where, if you have a project running, where you will manage your project. It's also the place where you apply. So everything is done through this portal. If you actually want to apply, the first thing that you need to do, if not yet the case, is register yourself. You can see here, you can register or log in if you are already. There is a place which is public, which everyone can visit without registration, but if you actually want to manage and submit projects, then you have to register first yourself and also as well your organization. So I will quickly go through the different places that might be of interest for you. First of all, how do we look for funding and tender opportunities? It's the first tab here. You click on it, and then you will see now we are actually in the work program of Horizon Europe. So really the topic calls, the different topic calls to which you might apply. So let's say that we are not interested for the closed one because we can no longer apply. And here on the left side, you see all kinds of, we will focus on the grants, not on the tenders. So I close that as well. And then you will see there are all kinds of filters that you can specify your search. What is interesting for international partners is, for example, as Kremena mentioned, the program as a default is open. So in principle, all calls are open. But sometimes for some calls, we give this extra push to attract international partners. And then there is this filter, this quick search on specific priorities. If you click on that, you will see here international cooperation. And then you will see the topic calls that we have flagged as European Commission as being in particular relevant for international cooperation. But I stress again, also the ones which are not flagged are open to participate in. But I'm just giving you an example. So let's say that I'm interested in the program part on health, let's say, and then every time my search result is adapted automatically, and I see on the left side, the right side, I'm sorry, all the topic lists which are now open for application or which are forthcoming. And then just to open one, for example, pandemic preparedness and response, I click on it. And then you will see all the details which are relevant to this topic call. And why I want to show it is just to mention that it's, before applying, it's important that you read very well the topic call description, also additional conditions to see if you are eligible, if there is maybe an exclusion condition or not. For example, when you look at the topic description here, you will see that there is a mentioning that international cooperation for this topic call is explicitly encouraged. So this is where we believe it's important that we have third country participation in the consortia. Or, for example, under the general conditions, when I open this, you will see in this case, but this is maybe less relevant for Kazakhstan because you are a country which is automatically funded under our program. But for countries for which this is not the case, this section is very important because if you will see here, you will see that the US, as an exception for this call, is funded as well. And this might be interesting as well for you to see if you can easily include, for example, a partner in a consortia from the US, because it's easier for them to participate. It's a more, if the funding is secured, it's easier to collaborate with each other because this partner does not have to look for funding and there is no risk that his participation might fail at the end. So this is just the first part of the funding and tender portal where you look for opportunities. Now, this one is also important, how to participate. It's just to show that everything is ordered step by step according to the process. So find a suitable call for proposal. Actually, we just did that step, but also here, and this was one of the questions, if I remember well, how can I find partners? There is a partner search function in the funding and tender portal. And when you click on that, yes, use the partner search, you can see that it offers you the possibility, again, with the help of filters, to find partners that might be active in the same fields as you and that might be interested in forming a consortium. So you will see that you can also have here reference documents. Again, everything is logically ordered. What is important is that I mentioned it before. Before you submit a project, you have to register your organization. If this is not done yet, this you can do as well here, and it gives you then a unique number. And with this number, we know who you are, and this number is very important. It is your identification in Horizon Europe project, which of course needs to be validated by services on the side of the Commission, but the validation can happen after when you submit your project. So it's just to submit your project, your identification number can still be on the status ongoing and should not yet be it's important because it takes a while and otherwise you might miss the deadline to submit. What is also very interesting in the funding and tender portal is that you can look for data, for information, for project results, for success stories, and there are different tools for that. And I will just show you very quickly the Horizon dashboard, which gives you key figures, statistics on different areas, implementation figures, as well on proposals as projects. You have country profiles, and just to show you what it gives you, I will click on the country profile for Kazakhstan. So you see immediately the participation statistics for your country, but you can compare with other countries. So you click on key figures. It's a bit slow, but it's coming. normally it's faster. I think it's because it's in this session. So you click on a country. Let's put just, don't be disappointed with the low numbers. We are here to boost them. Oh, I didn't. Yes, and then, yes, this is when I want to, this is for all programs that are in the past. So, but if I want to know the figures for example, Horizon Europe, then I see, did I not select the country now? Again. Yes, validates. Yeah, then you will see that there are 3 grants signed so far, and that these grants have 4 participants. And then you have some graphs. But what is interesting is that if you click on these 3 dots every time, you can also view for most of these frames, you can see the raw data, and you see who is involved so far in Horizon Europe projects. I checked, and all of them, all 3 are Marie Curie actions for the moment. So this is about, I can't see now how I can go back to my previous, this is a bit difficult. Yeah, I will have to make it smaller and go back to the funding and tender portal. Yeah. So this is what you can see in projects and results. This is also a very nice thing to watch. It's the results platform where you can really see concrete outcomes of Horizon Europe projects. Again, where you can search with filters, and it's interesting to see who is active, which partners are active in the same field, who have already worked in Horizon Europe programs, etc. And then the last part, also very important, is the support. This is, again, something that is explained step by step. You have here guidance and manuals. If you, for example, go online manuals, you see step by step, following the process, applying, evaluation, grant management, and the different steps each time, and will give you the dedicated guidance in order to help you here send out your application, and then guides you through all the process of the project management as well. I think that I don't have time to say much more, but I would invite you all to discover it. And then also, if there are specific parts where an additional session should be organized, we are welcome to accommodate and tailor our presentation to the needs that you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katrien and Kremena, very much. Just to sum up your presentations, I'd like to mention bullet points. So first of all calls are open and available for Kazakhstani universities, right? Unless there are some certain restrictions, but the majority of the calls are available for HEDs in Kazakhstan. In order to participate, to apply for the program, applicants should actually go to the FTOP portal. So everything is done in the funding and tenders opportunities portal. You just click on the program Horizon Europe, and you go to the actual call to familiarize yourself with detailed information, right? And then, Katrien, thank you very much for demonstrating the statistics for Kazakhstan. You've mentioned that there were 3 grants for Kazakhstan, and all of them were Maria Skłodowska-Curie action. So the numbers are quite low, but I would like to encourage our universities that you still have chance to apply for these programs. So please take advantage of today's session. Thank you very much. Now let's continue with the next presentation with Dora's presentation, and she'll be mostly talking about the Maria Curie Skłodowska action. Dora?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? I'm not sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here with you and present you the Maria Skłodowska-Curie actions. In the meantime, I'm trying to share my screen. And I don't see my PPT anymore.
We can, Nazirke, can you share Dora's presentation?
It went perfectly. It went perfectly well when we did the test.
Actually, you first need to open the presentation.
And then share your screen, right?
And then share.
Yeah, I have the presentation open.
Now try to demonstrate your screen again.
Yeah, share.
Yeah. Oh, I see myself now on your screen.
Host disabled participants screen sharing. You have to enable screen sharing again.
Okay. So maybe I'm sorry. Maybe it's easier if you.
Yeah, if Nazirke
share it. Yes. So I'm just switching off my camera, I think, for the better connection. And until we see the first slide, let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Dora Czifra from DG EAC, which is the Directorate General dealing with education and culture in the European Commission. And I'm dealing specifically, I'm working in the unit dealing with the Maria Skłodowska-Curie actions. We like to refer to it MSCA. So when I say MSCA, you will understand that I'm referring to our program. So let me start by mentioning that when it comes to research and innovation, and this has been mentioned already by Kremena, our main goal in MSCA is to address current and future global challenges like climate change, sanitary crises, different kind of security issues, social disparities, or, for example, the energy crisis. That is a very timely question at the moment. Next slide, please. To better understand the structure, and you have already seen this table in Kremena's presentation. Just to better understand the structure, so as you can see, MSCA is under Pillar 1 of Horizon Europe. That is to promote excellent science. The total budget of Horizon Europe for 7 years, as it was again mentioned in the previous presentation, is 95.5 billion euros, out of which MSCA's budget is 6.6 billion euros. Next, please. If we have to summarize the main goals of MSCA, is to equip researchers with new knowledge and skills through mobility and training. So the two key words here are mobility and training. So what are the main features? MSCA is to support researchers' training, to support excellent research in all domains. Again, as it was mentioned, the action include mobility that could be either international, cross-sectoral, or even interdisciplinary. So we will go more into details. What does it mean exactly? The goal is also to provide attractive working conditions for all researchers. And through these activities, we also want to structure the participating organizations through excellent programs. And what is very important, that we want to develop very strong ties, not only between universities, but with industry and businesses, including SMEs, so small and medium-sized enterprises. And it is also important to highlight that the proposals are allocated and evaluated in 8 scientific panels. These are chemistry, social sciences, economic sciences, information science, and engineering. This is one of the most popular panels. Environment and geosciences, life sciences, mathematics, and physics. So basically, as you can see, it covers all kinds of research areas. Next, please. Yeah, I see that our picture's a bit not in the right place, but hopefully you can see it. So let me mention some figures we are very proud of. Since 2014, MSCA supported more than 65,000 researchers, of which 15 are Nobel laureates. MSCA also increased the number of researchers outside the EU with 37%. And the female researchers, which is again one of our very important goals, with 42%. MSCA supported more than 1,000 doctoral programs and more than 4,500 companies, basically all across the world. Next, please. So MSCA has 5 main actions, and I'm going to give you a short overview of the first 4, as these could be relevant in your case as individuals or organizations coming from third countries. So these are the doctoral networks, the postdoctoral fellowships, staff exchanges, and co-found. Next, please. So in general, who can participate? We can say that the participants are either organizations or individuals. So they can be organizations, meaning they can be any kind of legal entities, either from academia or the non-academic sector. And they can participate either as a beneficiary or an associated partner. When it comes to individuals, we have to highlight that any nationality can participate. Although other type of, let's say, specific conditions may apply, but we will see these more in detail later. When it comes to the participation of countries, I think already during the previous presentations you got a great overview, so I don't want to repeat it. But as you know, we have 3 categories: the member states, the Horizon Europe associated countries, and the third countries. In this case, Kazakhstan is in this third category. Next, please. So now let's see the actions, starting with doctoral networks. The goal of this action is to set up innovative doctoral programs. These could be doctoral networks, which is the standard version within this program, within this activity. This involves a consortia of at least 3 entities offering some kind of innovative doctoral training, either in academia or it can be in the non-academic sector as well. The second type is a bit more specific. This is the industrial doctorates. In this case, doctoral candidates have the chance to step outside academia to develop skills in industry and business. In this case, the researchers are jointly supervised by academia and the non-academic organization as well. Finally, the joint doctorates. This is really a highly integrated doctoral training, leading to joint, double, or even multiply doctoral degrees. Next, please. The main features, the duration of the program can be maximum 4 years, and 5 years in the case of joint doctorates, since, as I mentioned, this is a much more complex program. Who can apply? Consortia of universities, research institutions, businesses, again, including SMEs. There must be at least 3 independent legal entities, each established in a different member state or associated Horizon Europe associated country. Minimum of 1 beneficiary from an EU member state is needed in all these cases. And on the top of this, and this can be important for you, any entity from any other third country can join. Another thing to mention, that each beneficiary has to recruit at least 1 researcher. So the supported researchers must be doctoral candidates, meaning that they are not already in possession of doctoral degree, but enrolled in a doctoral program in 1 EU member state or associated country. Again, they can be of any nationality. And researchers can apply to vacancies published by the institutions participating in the project. And these researcher fellowships can take between 3 and 36 months. In the case of, if joint doctorates, up to 48 months. For the contributions, let's see the next slide, please. For researchers, in addition to the living allowance, all doctoral candidates must receive a mobility allowance. This covers their additional private, usually mobility-related costs like travel and accommodation costs, and they can be entitled to family allowance as well if they have a family. While the institutions receive 2 types of unit costs. The first one is a contribution for research, training, and networking. So this is basically to cover all the costs for training and networking activities that contribute directly to the researcher's career development. So, for example, it can be participation in conferences, trips related to work, even language courses or lab material. While the second category is the management and indirect contribution, and this should cover the beneficiaries, the organization's additional cost in connection with the action. So this could be like personal cost for project management, coordination, and indirect costs. Let's move to the next slide. And the next action under MSCA, this is the postdoctoral fellowship. It is for researchers already holding a PhD and who wish to gain and learn new skills through training and mobility. Here we have two types. We have the European postdoctoral fellowship. They are open to researchers moving within Europe or coming to Europe from another part of the world. And these fellowships take place either in an EU member state or in a Horizon Europe associated country and can last between 1 and 2 years. Researchers, again, of any nationality can apply. We also have the global postdoctoral fellowship. They found mobility of researchers outside Europe. The fellowship lasts between 2 to 3 years, of which the first 1 to 2 years will be spent in a non-associated third country, followed by a mandatory return. This is very important, a mandatory return phase of 1 year to an organization based in a member state or associated country. Here, only nationals or long-term residents of EU member states or associated countries can apply, meaning that if you have a Kazakh nationality, you might still be eligible if you are a long-term resident in one of these countries. The participating postdoctoral researchers must obtain a PhD already. There is absolutely no age limitation or restriction. However, there must be a maximum of 8 years research experience since the doctoral degree has been awarded. Next, please. Again, here you can see there is EU contribution both for researchers and participating institutions. The structure of the contributions are the same as in the case of doctoral networks. However, the amounts, as you can see, a bit different. Next one, please. So let's go to the third action. This is staff exchanges. The staff exchanges action funds mainly short-term international and intersectoral exchanges of staff members involved in any kind of research activities of the participating organizations. The goal is that exchanged staff benefits from new knowledge, new skills, while participating organizations have the chance to increase their research and innovation capacities. The maximum duration of this project is 4 years. Who can apply? So, sorry. Staff eligible participants for staff exchanges, we can say that they are open to an international consortia of universities, research institutions, businesses, and basically any other type of non-academic organizations. But they need to include at least 3 organizations in 3 different countries, 2 of which need to be located in a different EU member state or Horizon Europe associated country. And above this minimum, the participation of organizations from any country is possible. However, if all participating organizations are from the same sector, so let's say all of them are from academia or from the non-academic sector, at least one must be from a non-associated third country, like Kazakhstan, for example. Individual staff members are selected by the sending organization. These secondments can take up to 12 months, but our experience says that it's usually more between 1 and 3 months. The specialty of this action is that secondments are open to any type of staff dealing with research and innovation. So it's not only open for researchers, but administrative, managerial, and technical staff as well. And after the period of secondment, the seconded staff should return to their sending institution to maximize the impact of the exchange. Researchers can be at any stage of their career. I think if I try to remember the questions now, what we previously submitted, there was a question on age. You can say that in all our programs there is no age limitation, so this is an important element. For the unit cost, let's switch to the next slide, please. Here you can see the table is different, but the structure of contributions is the same, like in the case of the two previous actions. Again, there are two types of contributions. There is a top-up allowance that contributes to travel and accommodation cost of the seconded staff. Which is, this is an important detail, which is on top of the salary paid by the sending organization. In addition, funding is also provided for participating organizations, for research, training, and networking activities, and management and indirect cost. Next one. So finally, the last action I want to speak about is co-found. Here the goal is to co-found new or existing either national, regional, or international schemes for doctoral training and postdoctoral fellowships. Who can apply? The applicants can be a single legal entity established in an EU member state or a Horizon Europe associated country, and all beneficiaries must recruit at least 3 researchers. Who are the eligible researchers? So for doctoral programs, researchers without a doctoral degree, but with mandatory enrollment in a doctoral program. For postdoctoral programs, they must be researchers already with a doctoral degree. Again, any nationality can apply. So if you are a candidate wishing to apply either for a PhD or postdoctoral position under this program, under CoFund, you should apply to funded CoFund projects by directly checking their open vacancies. And these are usually advertised internationally. Next one, please. On the unit cost. Here you can see the contributions for recruited researchers and institutional contributions. As you can see, for doctoral researchers, it's 2,800 euros per month per person, while 3,980 for postdoctoral researchers. So these are the 4 main actions under MSCA. Let's just have a quick look on the next slide, the call calendar. As you can see, we have 1 call per action every year, and the calls are usually open for a couple of months. You can see the call openings and deadlines here on this slide. Next one. Here I am in a easy situation because my colleagues have already mentioned many of these details. So if you are an organization, you can apply through the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal. First, you find your call, then, as it was mentioned, it is important to register your organization. Then you have to find partners, and you are basically ready to apply. Next one, please. So if you are a researcher looking for a host organization, or you are an organization looking for partners, I would like to invite you to visit the following website. Again, some of them has been mentioned already. Several vacancies under doctoral networks and co-fund programs are published on your access portal, as well as some offers from host institutions for postdoctoral fellowships as well. You can also use, it was mentioned again, the partner search tool on Funding and Tender Opportunities portal, or the Enterprise Europe networks. This is for non-academic partners. And we also have a rather new tool, the MSCA matchmaking platform, which can be extremely useful for researchers and organizations to find relevant partners and host institutions. Next one, please. Before applying, I advise you to check the following documents, as they can guide you through basically the whole procedure of the application. As you know, unfortunately, Kazakhstan has no national contact points for MSCA, but in other countries, this could be a useful tool help as well. Apart from this, if you have a concrete or a specific question, you can always submit it through the research inquiry service. Next one, please. Here, just a couple of useful links, if I remember right.
Next slide.
Yeah, next, please. Maybe I wasn't clear. Yes, so you can have the PPT after the presentation, after the meeting, and I think it will be useful. It's basically a collection of all the useful links. And next one, please. But I think I will just stop there. Yeah, you can follow us on our social media channels. I see that the PPT lines and letters are completely messed up, but I will send you, or I already did, and hopefully it will be fine, that version. So anyway, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dora, for giving an overview of MSCA. So when we talk about MSCA, this is an opportunity for entities as well as for individuals, right?
Exactly.
So there are doctoral networks, mobility for researchers, and postdoctoral fellowships, as well as staff exchanges within MSCA. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thanks for showing the helpful links and tools for participants. I think they were very valuable tools. Okay, so now let us start our Q&A session, and I do have already some questions in the chat box as well as in the Q&A box, so let me read them out for you. The first question is from Ilyas Muhammad. He said that he's a foreign faculty professor in robotics and AI at Kazakh Technical University in Almaty. He's originally from Pakistan. Is he eligible to collaborate in the program in the Horizon Europe or in MSCA?
Yes, absolutely. I think this has been replied already during the presentation. There is no limitation when it comes to nationalities. But it's important always to check the other conditions of the programs. That's why I think at the first place the best strategy might be to choose which of these actions are most suitable when it comes to specific portfolios of the researchers. But yes, absolutely eligible.
Thank you. Next question is, can the Kazakhstani University act as a grant holder in the Horizon Europe program? Or can it be only just a partner or participant?
I think maybe here we are mixing two things. Maybe she meant grant holder in Marie Curie, most probably. So for this, I will ask Dora to reply, but let's say that the Kazakhstan University is eligible to be partner in any event, as we already explained throughout our presentation. So, except of course, if there is some specific mentioning that the call is restricted to external participants, but these are very, very few out of thousands of calls.
Yes, and if I may, just that has been mentioned by Kremena earlier. The important element is that Kazakhstan is all the organizations from Kazakhstan are eligible to automatic funding, which is not the case for all third countries. So yes, absolutely open to Kazakh universities, and as I said, not only for universities, but for business, research centers. So the scope is much wider.
Thank you, Kremena. Dora. Someone was asking about academic mobility opportunities within Marie's Skłodowska-Curie or Horizon Europe.
Yes. So again. It's possible. However, you also have to know that this is not our first priority. So for this, we already have Erasmus. However, it's still possible. It can be that in this case, there will be other specific, if you may remember, there was a specific element in the case of staff exchanges. Just to mention an example, that for example, when all the participating organizations are coming from the same sector, specific rules are applied. So for example, in this case, we need to have a third country participating, and this is obligatory. So yes, indeed, it is absolutely possible. But we are very happy when we see that other type of participants like businesses and research centers are participating as well.
Thank you. Another question, one of the actual directions of pedagogical education is internationalization and training of teachers in order to integrate Kazakhstan into the world space. Within the framework of the Horizon Europe, is it possible to cooperate in the development of double degree and joint educational programs? What possibilities do Kazakhstan universities have in order to participate in the program? So again, maybe we're mixing with the Erasmus Plus, or do you have any answer for that, Kremena, Dora? Pedagogical universities, joint programs.
I guess it's for Dora.
Yeah, I think they're just, I mean, pretty many elements are mixed here. So I'm not sure if the focus is on the field of pedagogy, because in that case, I think it fits to one of the 8 scientific panels I have mentioned. But of course, depends on the specific topic. The other parts of the question are a bit blurry to me, so I'm not sure if I have replied to the question fully or not, but in case, we can always get back to you by email, by writing.
Thank you. Are there any short-term programs for PhD students within Skłodowska-Curie? What postdoc opportunities are there? I think Dora has mentioned this during her presentation, right?
Yes, when it comes to short-term programs, I think, well, it depends on what do we call a short-term program, but I think the only program that really includes short-term secondments is the staff exchanges. As I have mentioned, the secondments, the duration of the secondments is between 1 and 12 months, and our experience is that they are usually rather short. So in most of the cases, it's 1, 2, or 3 months. Yes, so you also have to know that when we say from 1 to 12 months, it means that is the total amount of time as a seconded staff of one staff member. So it can happen that I am seconded for 1 month to a certain institution, and then I'm seconded for the second time for 3 months to another institution. In total, this cannot be more than 12 months, but it has to reach a minimum of 1 month of duration.
Thank you. Another question. I have tried several times to participate in projects together with my European partners. What kind of new research directions are new and actual for the following Horizon calls? What are the latest research directions for the Horizon Europe?
Yeah, well, this is all again a very broad question, and I invite the person who asked it to go through the participant portal and look for his or her specific interests in or qualifications which will be matching the call, and then look for partners or vice versa. Because you saw all of our priorities. They are shaped in 6 clusters, and they're quite broad on one hand, and on the other, of course, there are many specific topics which I'm basically myself not a scientist. I'm a lawyer. So I'm overseeing the policy, but not exactly the actual calls, let's say. So it's for the scientists to find what they are interested in and how they can develop and contribute to the development of the certain topics, and consequently to get the grant.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. There are some questions in the Q&A session, but Kremena, thank you very much. You have already answered all of them. It might seem very complicated and too much information for our participants just within these 2 hours. And the program itself is a really extensive program, overarching program, and maybe our participants need some time to internalize and to digest this information. But of course, we can organize, or the Science Fund, which is now the focal point for the Horizon Europe in Kazakhstan, will organize more sessions in the future. Katrien, Dora, Kremena, thank you very much. I think I can now introduce our colleagues from the Science Fund. As I've mentioned, the Science Fund in Kazakhstan will be in charge of the Horizon Europe. So it will be the focal point for the Horizon Europe. And I see here the representative of the Science Fund, Dr. Aliya Sembayeva. So I'd like to give the floor to Aliya so that she introduce herself and announce this important news. Yeah.
Dear Laura, thank you very much, first of all, for organizing this seminar and sharing this information, inviting us. So we are happy to meet our colleagues from the European Union. So just recently, like a couple of weeks ago, the Science Fund was appointed as a national coordination point of Horizon Europe in Kazakhstan. We are working closely with European delegation in Kazakhstan. So we have big plans. We are planning to work closely with local universities so that more projects, more participation of Kazakhstan, to ensure more projects and participation of Kazakhstan in Horizon Europe. So also looking forward to working with you, dear colleagues. And yes, for Kazakhstani representatives who are here today, thank you for your participation. If you have any questions, if you have ideas, projects, Science Fund will help with expertise, with coordination, with will support in finding partners. So I think we will write our emails in chat and you can contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Elia. So that was Dr. Yasin Baeva, first Deputy Chairman of the Board of the Science Fund. So now, dear colleagues, you know whom to approach when you have questions on Horizon Europe. Elia, hopefully you'll not get bombed with lots of emails about Horizon Europe. So dear participants, do you have any other remaining questions? Any raised hands? No hands, no questions. Okay, so let me remind you then that the session has been recorded, is being recorded, and we will upload the recording of the session on our YouTube channel. And Nazirkia has sent the link, I think. And we will upload the presentations of our speakers into our Google Drive folder, so you can use them later on as well. So if you don't have any questions, I think I need to extend my gratitude again to Katrien, Dora, Kremena for taking your time to give this presentation. And the presentation was really useful. And we will share your presentations with our people, with our colleagues. So thank you very much, dear participants. Thank you for being so active and cooperative. And I'm sure that the session was helpful for you. I think so. Someone is sending the contact details of the Science Fund. Thank you for that. Okay, and thank you, Nazirkia, for providing technical assistance today. So thank you very much. We are closing our session with this on this note. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and we will be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.